Steve and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steven Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about why successful people hide.
This is an interesting topic.
I have to admit, there are some topics that I write for myself. Most of them I write in an attempt to be helpful. This one's for myself.
No. Oh, no. All right, you've been warned.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
John P. asks, hi, guys. You talked about the $10,000 thing on the weekly call last week. What is it exactly, and why would it work for someone like me?
You want to hear mine first?
I do.
The $10,000 thing is what we're calling it. I don't know in the end what it's going to be called, but Joe Martin during one of our live events got this crazy idea that we all put in $10,000 into a bank account and raise whatever, I don't know, 10 or 15 people put in. It ends up being $150,000 to $200,000. And we incorporate, we're all partners on a deal, and then we put, each of us, as deals come up, use that money to as capital to purchase property, and then we just go about our business and resell it like we always would individually. We don't collectively work on mail. We don't collectively work on sales. We just use the dough, and we all have to agree whether or not we want to do the acquisition. Right. It's all via text. And when the money ends up at the $1 million mark, you put the money back in. You keep half for yourself on the proceeds of the deal, and then you put half of the money back into the pot. When it ends up being $1 million, we do a bunch of disbursements and do it all over again. That's a $10,000 thing. You know, there's a lot of legal implications to that. You certainly can understand why we wouldn't want to do that with somebody who's brand new in the group, but seasoned people who have a track record of doing deals, certainly like Jill and I, and like Joe, and many, many, many other people that are probably doing, well, I know they're doing much better financially than we are buying and selling land on a monthly basis. Right. I'd love to fund some of that stuff. And the whole point is not to make money for the seed money people like us. The whole point is to allow people that are relatively advanced access to a bunch of dough to do great, great deals. Mm-hmm. $50,000 to $80,000 deals where the sale price is immediately $250,000. Keep half of that, put half the seed money back in, and just keep going back to the well. Right. That's the $10,000 thing. I'm not sure who answered this question. John. I don't know where you are, or even if you're in our group, but it's reserved right now for the advanced people. Right. So, and it hasn't happened yet. My lawyer's still drawing up the agreements in Arizona, and it's some version of it's going to happen for sure. Right. We just don't know. I want to make sure that it's legal, and I want to make sure that the outcome is what everybody expects. Right. We have so many deals coming in and out of this group that, you get 10 people in a room, everybody's going to have 10 opinions. Exactly. And these are 10 entrepreneurs who are very strong-willed and bright. Yep. So we just want to do it right. I'm actually excited as heck about it. Right. I think it's got massive potential. I know as a group, last month we generated, I don't know, it was more than $4 million in equity. Right. Just for buying, just not in sales, but just purchasing undervalued real estate. So right. It has huge potential. I'm excited because we each individually want to put in some money. And yeah. And then I know one of the things you discuss, which would make it great, is that instead of waiting for one person to hold up, green lighting the transaction, I think that one of the ideas was having a majority or a certain percentage, and when it hits that level of yeses, then it just is going to happen. And I'm like, that's great with me, because I if that many people, if 80% or 70%, whatever it is, say this is an awesome deal, I'm like, great, fine, you guys run with it. I trust this group. It's a sophisticated way of saying, getting another set of eyes to approve a deal. That's true. And I would be really conservative. Every time we play that game, would you do this deal? Yeah. Like 75% of us say, yeah, I'd do it. And 25% say, no, man, I did a deal like that and I got stung. So there's some huge value in that. It's true. And there's always deals there's some that we pass on and people are like, oh, I do those deals all day long. We're like, oh, wow, good for you. Mm-hmm. And I make a killing. I'm like, good for you. Everybody's got their thing. So. I personally would never be involved in an office building in any way ever, just for a lot of reasons. And some people, that's all they do.
Yeah.
Today's topic, why successful people hide. This is the meat of the show.
Tell us, Steven, what brought this on today?
I got the idea for this show because somebody else on the internet, who's very vocal, like a name brand person, did this show, did this title, and they were just a stressed out, messy wreck. And it cracks me up because from the outside looking in, like at what we do and what people that are eons beyond what we do, like, you know, public speakers and people like Tony Robbins, you know, it all looks like it's fun and profitable, but there's always people, there's always critics. I'm going to try to say this as nicely as I can.
Oh, this will be good. You're going to Jillify it?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
There's always critics. There are always people who are extremely skeptical, which is healthy. It's a free market. Mm-hmm. But occasionally there's people who totally cross that professional line, and it either comes from drunkenness or raw jealousy or idiocy. Some version of maybe all of those, all at the wrong moment, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
And they just say some awful, and do some awful stuff. So, you know, I look back on my mentors. This is back in the 80s and 90s, when I was very young. And those guys went and hid. You know, why did they were successful? And it's like, where did that guy go? This is way before the internet. This is before cell phones.
True.
So it was real easy to get lost really quickly. And you didn't need that much money back then to do it. So and now I know. People go, super successful people go hide. Or they resurface for once and then get out of there because they don't need to deal with the stuff anymore. They don't need to deal with the backlash and the pushback and the opinions. Mm-hmm. And as I remember back then, and probably like most young people remember with their mentors or their parents, their patience are like this thin for everything. I wonder if I'm an old man like that, where my patience are just like that thin now.
Oh, no, not you.
Why do you think successful people hide, or do they? Did your mentors, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, think about the people. We say they went dark, you know, but yeah, I mean, we can all think of, you know, famous actors and things that they just kind of go go dark and hide, for a long time. I'm trying to think some of my mentors, I can think of them going to, like, one person in particular, like, bought a house in Hawaii and would kind of write a book now and then from Hawaii, and that's kind of all you would, and then maybe he might pop up and speak now and then. Yeah. But it was, for the most part, pretty darn quiet. He's from Detroit.
It just dawned on me why a lot of public people buy places in Hawaii and stay there. It makes a lot of sense now.
Because it's a small island?
Yeah. There's only like 4,000 or 5,000 people on the island. How much flack can you get?
Yeah. And hopefully they all hang out together. They can, take care of each other.
Maybe, they start going to the grocery store, and after that initial, oh my gosh, everybody in the town just becomes like a normal person, hopefully.
I hope so.
I can't imagine some of these huge movie stars like Johnny Depp or something. I mean, you just can't go anywhere.
That's true.
We have a silly little, whatever version of this is on the internet. The other thing, too, the big problem is, too, that being financially successful now involves having your face on the internet. And there's, back before, a while ago, it was, it was all about the company, the company name and the company culture and stuff, and the products that you're kicking out and how you presented it. Like, look at Pepsi. Like, there's no spokesperson for Pepsi that I know of. Right. These huge brands. Like, look at Walmart. There's no, like, nobody even knows who runs or owns Walmart, but everybody knows who owns and runs Land Academy.
I would say, or Microsoft.
Yeah. That's just how it is. It's not. There's nothing wrong with that. Times have changed. Everything's just more open and more honest, and there's cameras involved.
And Apple.
Yeah.
Now everybody really pays attention.
Companies are built on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just...
Isn't that funny?
It's a natural progression.
That's a whole new thing, too. How many companies are built on the eccentric leaders now,
Yeah.
and even push forward because that guy's like, think of SpaceX.
Yeah,
think
Elon
of, especially everybody
Right.
now. He's good for him. I don't know if he probably did intend it because he's not stupid, but anything he puts his name on, everybody, and now it's funny that the funny products that they sell on their little side site is hilarious.
And you can't argue with that formula.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Oprah and look at Steve Jobs. That was back in what? Was Oprah in the 70s? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I was thinking 80s. But
70s and 80s
yeah.
is when it all kind of started.
Yeah.
They were just icons, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and everything. So anyway, it's very clear to me after 3 years of doing this why successful people go hide, sometimes permanently. Well, you've done it again. You spent another 15 minutes or so listening to the Land Academy show. Join us next time where it's Finance Friday with Steve Butala. That's me and Justin Sleva.
And we answer your questions posted on our online community, landinvestors.com. It's free.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition. Oh, I feel better.
Oh, good. You had to get that out?
Yeah.
When the person that you're talking about that did that, I know who it is, and I think I caught a few minutes of it. And I want to say there's even like unfortunately, your family, and you're not immune to even your family and friends looking at you differently, sadly. And it's a bummer that things change. You just have to kind of be ready for that.
You know what? This is the after show, so let me be glaringly clear. Here's here's a regular week for Jill and I, or let's say a regular month for Jill and I in the public eye. We get an overpouring of positive emails, heartfelt tears well up emails, probably 6 a month. We get probably a gift basket a month.
Yeah.
Someone was trying to ask me what my favorite scotch was recently, and I don't even know if you can send that in the mail, but I just haven't gotten back to him, and I will. So it's overwhelmingly positive. But and we get recognized in Costco probably once or twice a quarter or wherever. But there's always one thing. There's always one person or one incident where they just, it's just human nature. I don't think it has anything to do with us or anything to do with Land Academy itself. It's just how people are.
Right.
It seems like you're very good at blowing that stuff off. My point is, the positive grossly outweighs the negative. That's my point. But I just I have a radio show so I can vent.
Yes, you can. Hey, and by the way, just a reminder, I have a very special thing going on right now. Check out landacademy.com, click join. You'll find it. It's something awesome between now and the end of this year. And while you're at it, wherever you're listening or wherever you're watching, please rate us. We are Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.